Thanks for joining. So like I was saying, I'm going to do a Q&A today because a while ago I asked for questions if anybody has questions, and I also have been getting questions in my comment section and things like that. So I wanted to do a proper video to talk a little bit more about my musical background, my story, and most importantly, why I play the music that I play. So I'm gonna just start by playing some music and then we'll get started. Okay, so thank you so much for being here, really. I'm very grateful for all the questions that I received also. Like I said, I'm going to do a Q&A today. And before I answer any questions, well, I guess that this was a question, actually. Someone said it's the most important question of all, is what are my cats' names and can I introduce them? So let me introduce them. Let me just change my mic setting 1 second. All right, so here is, they're perfectly in their cat tower. This is Pepper. She's the smartest cat in the world. She's so smart. And then this is Tony. Hold on. There we go. They're both so sweet. So you'll see them in my videos a bunch, and also there's one cat in my profile photo, and her name is Colette, and she's my parents' cat, actually, because I took my profile photo at the piano in my parents' place. So that one is Colette, and then I have Tony and Pepper. I can go ahead and start with my questions. I have them. All right. How is everyone doing, by the way? Are we having a good evening? I'm so curious where you are listening from, if you're in the US, what state you're in. I'm very curious to know, and again, I'm so happy that you're here. Like I said, I'm so grateful for the questions that I've been getting, and I really appreciate that you are curious about my musical background and why I play the music that I play. And so I figured I didn't want to wait any longer to share a little more about me, because I think it does matter, and I hope that it will help give you some more context. I'm in New York. Me too. All right. So the way it's going to go is I'll go over the questions. Hi, Betsy, happily listening in Melbourne. Hi, Kai, great to see you. Hello from Oregon. Thanks, everyone. This is great. So the way it's going to go, I collected the questions that you sent me, and then also if you have more questions, feel free to put them in the chat and I will get to them when I can. I'm guessing this will take about 20 minutes. I'm planning on doing around 15-20 minutes, and then at the end I think I'm going to play part of a song that I'm working on right now. So if you're interested in hearing a little bit of a preview of what's to come, stick around until the end. Hi, thank you. Hi, Mio. We love your music. Thank you so much. So the first question I want to go over, and it's the question that I think I get asked the most often, is I was wondering what might have been the reason for the change from classical music to oldies. As you know, I'm an avid listener to your channel and I'm curious to know. Thank you for the tunes. And then someone else asked, why do you play jazz and the Great American Songbook when you are classically trained? I think that it has to do with the fact that I started with classical. I started when I was 4, and I took lessons up until I was 22. And learning classical piano was my hobby. That was the main thing that I did growing up. And it was a huge part of my identity, and I really loved it. I mean, I didn't get to choose to be in classical piano. That was something my parents put me in lessons, but over time, I really learned to love it, and I really do feel that I was able to express myself through classical music, and I loved to learn new pieces, and I enjoyed performing too. I did so many things. I did chamber music, solo stuff, competitions. I was just always doing something with classical music. And then when I stopped taking lessons, I kind of realized that I needed to reevaluate what music was doing for me and I was asking myself, do I really feel like I can express myself through classical music at this point in my life? And I just felt like what I was doing artistically up until then, it was great, but at that point I realized I needed a change. Hi, Chip, listening in Connecticut, welcome. And so to give you a little background on where did the American Songbook and jazz come from in my world, I was thinking back to this because this question really had me thinking, and I wanted to make sure I give a good answer. And it was really from childhood. I had been, if I was practicing my classical stuff and I wanted a break, my mom especially would tell me, why don't you just take out a Cole Porter book and sight read something, or read something from, we had these big compilation books of sheet music of Broadway songs or things like that. I mean, I have some of them here. And that was my break. Like, my break from classical music was learning and playing American Songbook songs for fun. So that was my exposure to it. And I think that helped associate American Songbook with that feeling of rest and joy, because it was my break. And so when I had stopped taking classical lessons and I was doing that period of reflection, I thought that American Songbook music, never fails to bring me comfort, to bring me joy, to feel like I'm sharing something just purely for entertainment, and I just felt so connected to it, so I started revisiting it, and I really started exploring arranging and making my own interpretations of those songs, and listening to a bunch of jazz, jazz interpretations of American Songbook, kind of that in between of American Songbook and jazz standards. I was exploring that area, listening to a lot of stuff. And it was as I was doing that I realized the ability to create music and kind of create my own interpretation of a song, writing solos, writing melodies, creating my own world around a song, that really gave me so much joy. And it was like, oh, this is how I can express myself. So that's where I'm at right now, and I hope that answered the question. I still love classical music, I really do. And I think that, I hope this doesn't come across as if I'm saying anyone who plays classical music is not being their most creative, expressive self. That's not what I mean. It's just like, for me personally, I didn't feel connected with it as much anymore. I think everyone needs a change, but... So, the next question that I got was, hi, Gratitude. So happy to see you. Thanks. Thanks for being here. The next question I got is, hi, Mia, do you play other instruments, and how did you get your start as a professional? So I don't really play other instruments. I learned how to play the flute and the guitar to some extent, but that was a while ago, and I don't do that anymore, but I enjoyed it a lot. I love learning in general. So regarding the question, how did you get your start as a professional? I'll say that when I started exploring outside my world of classical, actually, even back in high school when I was still doing classical stuff, but I had that American Songbook world as my escape, I have some really wonderful neighbors, and one in particular, really, and he gave me this great opportunity to play music for him at a dinner party. He was like, I love your American Songbook stuff or classical stuff, anything, just come and play. I'll have friends over, we'll have dinner, and I just want you to play background music. And so I did that, and I realized it would be amazing if I could do this more often, really. I think it was one of those moments for me where I realized I so prefer performing for people in a more intimate setting, like a dinner party, someone's home, a celebration, something where I could be playing in the background or not. There are some instances where I will announce the song and we'll be able to chit-chat in between. I'll talk about that in a second. But I just love the more intimate aspect of performing in that way. And it really sparked something in me where I almost bookmarked it in my mind, and I said, I want to keep doing this someday. I just didn't really know how to gather my thoughts and make that happen. And so finally, now, I am making that happen, and I'm very grateful that I have gotten gigs and opportunities to play in people's homes, dinner parties. I did an anniversary party recently, so that's where I'm at right now. That's a big, I would say that's one of my main focus areas in terms of playing professionally. And so people find me on my website, and those are super fun for me to do. And then in terms of another avenue where I play professionally, I work with an organization in New York here where they bring virtual concerts, they host virtual concerts on Zoom for people who wouldn't normally have access or wouldn't be able to attend in-person concerts. So these are folks who might be senior citizens, they might be in a senior community, like senior living community, they might be in a veteran's home, things like that. And so I just play for them on Zoom for an hour, and we get to chit chat and interact with each other, and it's just incredible. So I truly it's the most rewarding thing ever. I really love the folks who show up to those concerts. They are just the warmest, kindest people. So it's like pretty amazing that I'm able to do that, and I'm very happy about it. Hi, Nathan. Often I get so focused on learning a piece that I neglect developing the characters so thoroughly. Yeah. Actually, I would love to talk about that later, because I'm going to talk a little bit about how I go about arranging, and that is something, what you just said, being so focused on learning a piece that you might not see the bigger picture or maybe have trouble emotionally connecting to it. That's something that I really understand, and so I definitely want to talk about it. I'd like to know how you go about developing such expressive interpretations. Is it more intuitive or more planned? I'm going to get to that. Thank you. That's a fabulous question. Hi, Bruce. Thank you so much. I loved your party, really. Thank you. We have or had a place in St. Paul named the Artist Quarter, which was an amazing, intimate jazz setting where the legends would perform. That's so fabulous. Thank you. That sounds amazing. Bob, I think I'm about 225 miles north of Dizzy's Club. Oh, can you play? Not will you, but can you? That being said, could you? Oh my gosh, I don't know that song, Snowy Morning Blues, but I'm gonna note that down, and maybe next live or something, I'll note it down. Thank you. Who are your favorite classical composers and favorite repertoire? So Nathan asks, who are your favorite classical composers? My favorite to learn and to play are a lot of Russian, Soviet composers. I think that there's such a depth of emotion. I'm talking like romantic era, even post-romantic, like Rachmaninoff or Scriabin. Those were some of my favorite at the time, and still are. I think that I almost felt a little bit like I was expressing a different side of myself when I would learn and play that kind of music, because I feel like in everyday life I'm a very light person, especially when it comes to expressing myself verbally. And so being able to play really dark, intensely expressive and romantic music was a nice challenge for me, but it was great because I got to explore different sides of myself. Favorite repertoire? Yeah, I think really anything by Scriabin. Jonathan, hello Mia. I've wanted to learn piano just to play at home for fun, but found it to be intimidating getting started. Any advice? I guess it depends what kind of style you want to play, whether it's classical or jazz, or really pop, maybe. I would say, I'm trying to think. I don't want to just say scales because that's boring, but at the same time, understanding, like, if there's any pieces where you can kind of exercise the flexibility of your hand and your fingers, and sometimes that does mean doing scales. I'm not a teacher, so I don't want to pretend that I am. But I think anything that involves all 5 fingers, kind of exercising them like a pentatonic scale, would help. Because I find that sometimes when I watch people who are very new at piano, they sometimes get stuck because they're still getting used to the mobility aspect of, like, being able to isolate fingers like that. I hope that kind of answered your question. Best of luck, though. I really think everyone should learn some kind of instrument. I think it's useful. Hi Mia, enjoy your work. Which jazz pianists have inspired you? I know you like Bill Evans, but who else? Oscar Peterson maybe, though you have a different style. Thanks, Neil in Alexandria, Virginia. Thanks so much for your question, Neil. Great to have you here. Definitely Bill Evans. And I do really like Oscar Peterson a lot. Like you said, I don't think that I really sound like him, but I love watching his videos. He was incredible. Like, his mind just worked so fast. I think, yeah, I mean, to answer your question from the perspective of when I'm writing my arrangements, what I like to think about and maybe who I'm trying to take inspiration from, or a lot of times it's unconsciously I'm realizing, like, for instance, I recently played, I actually play at my office sometimes, and one day one of my coworkers came up to me and said, "Your playing sounds," or reminded him of a Charlie Brown Christmas, meaning like Vince Guaraldi. And I immediately was like, oh my God, that's the biggest compliment, because I love Vince Guaraldi so much. But it was so interesting because I hadn't consciously thought of, oh, let me write this arrangement so it sounds like something he would come up with, I just think it's kind of cool how when you do enjoy someone's work so much, it does naturally influence what you're doing. But to give more answers, I also, being someone who came from classical, I really love listening to Nina Simone playing, because her solos are, they are on a genius level, really. The way that she weaves in something like Bach, or any kind of fugue kind of counterpoint that she does in the middle of a jazz tune, and it sounds so modern in such an interesting way. So I love listening to her stuff. And Blossom Dearie, I mention a lot. Who else? Red Garland. I love Red Garland. And Tommy Flanagan also. Oh, Errol Garner. I love Errol Garner. So joyful, really. Yeah. He's one of those artists where I'll put his music on and it's just instant happiness for me. Yeah. Hi, greetings from Germany and Bremerhaven. I love your music. I remember you. Thanks so much for being here. Oh my gosh, Pippi Ardenia's stage manager and tech director for the Pip Jazz Foundation back in the day. Such an appreciation for the style. Someone to look up if you are around Chicago. Oh, awesome. I will definitely, definitely. Thank you so much. Okay. It's hot in here. Sorry. All right. I did want to just mention to everybody that I have been asked how people can support my music. So I set up a link for folks if you would like to have that option available to you. Let me just put a link on the screen for you. So the link is buymeacoffee.com/Mia Bramall. And I guess I'll put it in the chat as well. I have a little thing here. One second. It's really just if you enjoy my music and you would like to express your support in the form of a donation. I really appreciate that a lot. It helps support the time and care that I put into my arrangements and my music and making YouTube videos, things that I do in my spare time. So I appreciate it. It's absolutely not an obligation. It's just for those of you who are interested, because I have gotten some some questions. And I'll be able to pour all that energy back into the music for you. And otherwise, I always appreciate comments and follows. I know you all do. I appreciate you being here. That kind of thing helps my channel a lot. And most of all, it really makes me feel like the music that I put out there, the stuff that I'm writing, it matters and that it resonates with you. So the fact that you write a comment back, it makes my day. It really, really does. So thank you so much. The next question I got, again, I got this same question from a couple of people. What do you want to accomplish? What is your purpose in life? And where do you want to go with your music? My main purpose is simply to make people happy and bring joy to people with my music. I want to connect with people on a deep level throughout my music and use music as a way of communicating what I'm feeling to other people and somehow make some connection with others. And I think that the American Songbook and jazz is a beautiful way to do that, because those kinds of songs are so resonant for a lot of folks, and whether it's something that reminds them of their childhood or something nostalgic, that brings them comfort and warmth, and I feel almost like it would be wrong for me to not share what I'm doing with other people. And there was a point where I realized making music is not about me at all. It is about making others happy and sharing it with the world, and that is what makes me happy, actually. And so to think about music in this way, it actually unlocked a lot of confidence and ease in me, in my process, in how I approach playing music. Just to tell myself that things don't have to be perfect. Like, I'm not doing classical music anymore. I'm not up on a stage in some big hall or whatever. Like, I'm not I'm not doing that anymore. And thankfully I'm not, because it just didn't sit right anymore with me. I want to be playing intimately for you, and so that just is what brings me joy and why I play this music. And I also feel like in this day and age, there is so much going on in the world, and I mean, I don't need to say it, but there's a lot of fear and stress and anger, so much negativity. And to be able to increase the levels of joy in the world, even by a little bit, is something that I really strive to do. And when you put things in that perspective, it's like, gosh, I really don't need to be perfect in order to share what I want to share, because if it makes even one person happy, if it brings joy to one person, then that is a success for me. And I think that, yeah, I hope that that was clear. And of course, that's why I started this YouTube channel, and why I'm posting videos of my arrangements. And in terms of where I want to go with my music, I mean, most immediately, I want to host more live streams like this, whether it's, I mean, I would like for it to be playing music for you, and also chit-chatting and like this, because I love reading your comments, and I'm seeing your comments right now, and I would love to do this more often, because I feel like it feels more special. So let me know if you're interested in that, if you would want to see more like live stream concerts. I don't even like using the word concert, but live stream musical gatherings, how about that? And another goal of mine is just to keep learning. I really do have bigger dreams. I feel like I'm not ready to share what my bigger dreams are, because I just don't, I don't know, maybe I'm a little superstitious, but I do have other things that I want to accomplish. Hi. Oh, I remember you from Chile. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Okay. What's the nicest piano you've ever played on? Is there one you like? Okay. I think, well, I love Steinway pianos. I remember when I was a kid, when I was studying classical piano, I would go with my mom to Steinway Hall, the old Steinway Hall that was in Midtown. it was so beautiful and very like old style. We would go there and I would test out all the pianos just for fun and to test out whatever piece I was learning at the time, get to play it on different pianos and kind of get a sense of how they're all pianos, but they can all sound different from each other, and kind of figuring out what do I enjoy. So that was always fun. I really love like an old piano, something that has character. Next question I've received is, what are some standards you're currently really in love with? So right now I'm thinking about the songs that I want to learn in the near future, maybe for fall, for autumn. And there are just so many great jazz standards that are autumn themed. So I want to create a group, like a grouping of songs to put out there maybe next month or the month after. And I was recently thinking about the song Autumn in New York, which I was first exposed to from a record that I have of Frank Sinatra singing it. And I've loved it for a really long time. I think in general, I love when a song's harmonies and just the actual music of the song is in a very close relationship with the lyrics of the song and the actual meaning. Like, I love when there's almost like a symbiotic relationship between those two things. And I feel like Autumn in New York is one of those songs where it really, like, the lyrics are so melancholy. I can let you look them up, but it just this feeling of how autumn is a time for a lot of, it can be a very like warm and joyful, like in a warm in spirit kind of time, but also the fact that it can also feel a little isolating. And I love the way the lyrics describe that feeling, and then the harmonies and the music behind those lyrics just color the meaning so masterfully. And I think any song with a lot of depth in its harmonies like that is something that I personally love to explore when I'm making my own arrangements, because it gives me a lot to work with and express. And I guess on that topic, now I can talk about my arrangements a little bit more. So I think it was Chip who sent this question. Hi Mia, I'm such a fan of the songs you play and the way you've arranged them and perform them. Please reveal how the arrangements come about. So regarding my arrangements, kind of like what I was just describing with Autumn in New York, I find that I need to feel something. I need to have some kind of envisioned feeling or emotion that I want my future arrangement to embody. And I think if I don't start out with a feeling of, oh, I want to capture this kind of aspect of the song, if I don't have that immediately, it's kind of hard to stay motivated, I guess. So I guess to answer the question that came up in the chat earlier, Nathan asked, is it more intuitive or planned? I guess in that way it is very intuitive. And I also, to kind of get at what you were saying earlier too, in an earlier question about if you start thinking too much, I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but what I'm taking from your question is maybe if you intellectualize it too much, or if you're focusing so much on learning something, or yeah, thinking too much about how to make it happen, then sometimes for me, I lose sight of the bigger picture. So I try to intellectualize my process as little as possible. And I guess I try to find the chords and the melodies that simply just embody that feeling that I had envisioned. Yeah, it's a lot of it is just taking time and letting the ideas settle and finding those harmonies and melodies that I want to add to my arrangement that can successfully paint the picture that I had in my mind. Like, I feel like I'm always comparing what I'm playing, what I'm coming up with, to, okay, but does this sound like what I want it to sound like? And so a lot of my process is going on my phone, recording myself, filming myself, and things like that. I hope that answered that question. It's hard to explain. Yeah. Okay. I hope I answered the questions in the chat, and if there's anything remaining, feel free to type something in the chat and let me know. I figured to end our live stream, I wanted to play a little bit of an arrangement that I'm working on right now. This is, oh, okay, hold on. Nathan, do you think actively about the chords you're using, especially about upper extensions? Let me use a sharp 11 here to get XYZ effect. Or do you just use altered chords because they feel right? I really don't, and I'm going to tell you, a lot of the times I don't know what chords I'm playing because I'm still in the process of learning. And I have jazz books. I'm doing my best, and I really do. I feel like whenever I read a lesson in that book and I'm learning, I try to incorporate what I've learned in my, in the arrangement that I'm writing. But really, I don't think about it. I would like to think that I guess to answer your question simply, I don't think actively about the chords I'm using. At least not as specifically as you described. There will be times where I will feel like what's on the page, like if I pull out the real book and I look at what's on the page and it's just not enough. It doesn't grab me in the way that I want to express a certain emotion, then I will think, okay, well, I need to put something else in here. And then I'll explore what kind of chords or other things I might want to substitute. But that's kind of the extent of it. I don't think about, I don't think that you need to get bogged down in the technicalities. Yeah, I wouldn't stress yourself out too much about it. For me at least, I feel like I've been learning so much just writing as much as I can, and it's good to use books and try to study what the chords are, but like I would never want someone to do that so much that then it takes some of the joy out of it, the joy and the mystery. Like, I find jazz actually quite mysterious, because mysterious and intriguing and exciting, because a lot of times I play something and I'm like, oh, this sounds good. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to put that in what I'm writing. So I hope that answers it. And okay, so now I'm going to play, like I said, I'm going to play a little bit of something that I just started working on. Oh, okay, that's okay. Okay, this is a little bit of, oh, Mike, thank you. I didn't know what your name was. I'm upstate. So nice to see you on here. Thanks for being here, Mike. So this is a little bit of the song If I Were a Bell. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. I really appreciate it so much. And I hope we can do this again soon. And have a great night, really. Lots of love. Thanks for everything.